Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we have something a little bit different than I normally do for Madden. We are going to be doing a relocation franchise. And we have to decide which team we are going to relocate. There's not really a lot of great options. I wanted to pick a team that I think actually could be somewhat at risk for a little bit of relocating. And I actually think it's the Carolina Panthers. David Tepper, not exactly, I think, hard locked to Carolina. So I think that's an actual possibility that you could see potentially that team relocate. Also Jacksonville, but I want to take a team that is kind of, I don't want to say trash or anything like that, but that's who we're gonna go with because I just think it'd be kind of interesting actually. The owner, I swear I was talking about David Tepper, but actually in storyline, Papa John's bought the team. I don't know. He got a bunch of money. The NFL decided to let Papa John's own a football team. The day of reckoning is here, and he's gonna take the Carolina Panthers and he's gonna move them. So we have to go all the way here to stadium. I almost forget how to do this because it's been so long since I actually done it. So we're gonna relocate this Carolina franchise. I kind of wish you would just do it all right here from this screen, but you have to like simulate through the season a little bit. So here we go. And also, I completely forgot about this. We're going to choose our draft class, and actually for this series, we're going to be using a real actual draft class. Usually on PlayStation, I would use a draft class from Bangle, but he's a traitor. He's on Xbox. He betrayed the PlayStation Brotherhood. So we have to use a draft class from one of these guys. I have no idea if any of these are good. So this will be our first time using one of these draft classes. So to see if these are good. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, Tyler Van Dyke, Anthony Richardson. I'm pretty sure that's all the quarterbacks that are right now projected to go in the first round. You also have Will Anderson Jr. Out of Alabama, generational edge player. Probably would have been the first overall pick in last year's draft. Probably gonna be the first. If it's a team that already has a quarterback, let's say Jacksonville ends up picking one again. You could definitely see Will Anderson ending up there as opposed to one of these quarterbacks going one overall. But Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. So, yeah, I think a really interesting draft class, the quarterbacks. Tanner McKee, I don't know how much he's projected to go in the first round. DJ Uiagalelei, I hope I said that right. Spencer Rattler's definitely not getting drafted. I'll say that right now in real life. So let's start relocation, and let's choose a city. And I thought about picking a city that would kind of make sense in terms of the division that we're in. I really wanted to do St. Louis, but they haven't added any sort of relocation options for St. Louis. That's been a relocation option now for like 4 or 5 years, and they haven't added any teams for St. Louis, so that kind of sucks. Thought about Chicago actually. I think Chicago, that's another place. I think Chicago has a very real chance actually of having a second NFL team. Once the Bears move from Soldier Field. But we settled on Toronto. I know that's not the South, but we're gonna settle on Toronto. These teams, they can still make it up here. Hey, look, the Cowboys play in the AFC East. They're not East at all. So we're gonna kind of have like an inversion of that. We're gonna have an NFC South team in the north, in the great north of Toronto. So we announced that we're moving, and Papa John's decides that the day of reckoning is here again, and immediately Christian McCaffrey goes on the trade market. We're going to try to get some offers here. We're going to see who's willing to trade for Christian McCaffrey, who's going to give us maybe a first-round pick. And the Dallas Cowboys offer up too. As we're looking through here, trying to find, we could maybe trade for some great tackles. Also, the goal of this series is not to be realistic. That is not something I'm going to strive for here like I would with my Seahawks franchise. We're just going to make trades and we're just gonna make them. So we're gonna pick up Ezekiel Elliott, a 2023 first round pick, and a 2024 first round pick. Both of those picks I feel like can be used potentially if we want to move around in the draft. If we don't finish necessarily in a position to get the pick that we want, we're gonna use those picks to get them. So we take Zeke and then we just flip him. We flip him to Buffalo for Dawson Knox, a 2nd round pick and a 7th round pick. Just immediate like that, you say, hey Zeke, we don't want you, we're sending you to Buffalo, pal. Get out of here. Looked at some other guys to trade, just couldn't really find anyone that I wanted to trade at the time, and also I kept getting the thing where I kept getting kicked for inactivity. So looking through the team names, these have been the same for a number of years now. You think they would add like 1 or 2 every year through some of these teams? They haven't. I thought about the Huskies for a little bit. So I then went and looked at the uniforms. I didn't like the Huskies. I liked the Mounties uniforms for the Royal Mounted Police of Canada, eh? I'm going to be saying A lot. So we're looking through these uniforms here, eh? And I decided to go for the number style 2 uniform, eh? That's the last A. All right, so we picked the second ones, eh? And I think these ones look pretty nice, honestly. I kind of wish I could take the red helmets from one of the other styles and have it with this uniform. I wish they just give us the whole uniform builder. Just give us the logos and give us team builder already. I don't need to upload my own logos. If you don't want to allow us to do that, that's fine. Just let us build our teams already, please. And the stadium, this isn't, too important necessarily, but you would think, hey, a team of Toronto, it gets kind of cold there, eh? And I thought about a dome, but I have not played in a snow game yet in Madden 23. I did a whole season of Seahawks franchise. I don't think we played in the elements, not one time. So we are just going to go here with the deluxe futuristic stadium. They haven't added any new stadiums either. They had like the Campbell's Soup Stadium in Mud and the Pizza Hut Stadium. Like, why aren't those in franchise? I'm pretty sure I've said this before. Why aren't those in franchise? You added new uniforms in Mutt. You can't add any for franchise. Like, don't tell me the NFL told you no. Get on my face with that. So we go with that stadium, and I think that is all of our stuff done. So now we are just going to simulate to the playoffs and get to the offseason and all the other important team stuff here. And it's not necessarily great. 2022 recap. Justin Herbert, your MVP. The Titans win the Super Bowl. Looks like Christian McCaffrey did go to a Super Bowl with the Cowboys and lost. So the Titans, they won their first Super Bowl. You see all the other good stuff on the side of the screen right there. None of that's too important. I know someone will want to see it. I'm sure someone would have come like, why didn't you show that stuff? So we fired Matt Rule. Panther fans, I would say you could be happy, but like I took your team out of Carolina. So I guess like you wouldn't be too happy. So we need a new head coach. And Dan Campbell is the man for the job, in my opinion. I think didn't get a fair shake. Not sure why he got fired in Detroit in game. This is a part of the game where I hope they really improve in Madden 24. I would like to see, once again, I think everyone would like to see the coaching carousel stuff come back. We all thought this would be the year, but maybe they want to introduce that as a big feature in the next college football game that's coming out. And then we'll see that brought over to Madden. Maybe they wanted that feature to debut in NCAA or college football, whatever they're going to call that. It's weird. You still want to call it NCAA football, even though it's not going to be called NCAA football. So we're looking for a defensive coordinator. I'm looking at the hiring bonuses that you get for hiring these guys, and we got some nice bonuses there. He had 46, so Dan Campbell had some nice bonuses. I haven't spent those staff points yet. We won't spend those till the first episode, or the next episode. This is the first episode. Looking through the retirements, Aaron Rodgers has retired, and Ndamukong Suh retires. Joe Flacco retires. Is Joe Flacco elite? The great debate. And then Tom Brady calls it a career. His wife said, if you don't stop playing football, I am going to... the only money you're going to be making is from that Fox contract. All right, pal? Okay, so it's time to quit playing football. So Tom stops playing football. So it's now time to get into the re-signings. And we don't have a lot of cap room. And so I tried to re-sign Dawson Knox. I think this would be a decent player to have moving forward. He's not interested in signing. I guess he doesn't want to go to Canada. which is weird. Like, he probably already has a house in Buffalo, so like it wouldn't even be that big of a change for him. So we just looked through here. We just don't have the cap room. We have $12 million in cap. We're not in a great cap situation. I tried to re-sign a center, Bradley Bozeman, because if you have a decent offensive line, why not bring back that player? Sam Darnold definitely is going to be brought back. So a lot of these guys just aren't going to be brought back. We try to negotiate with Bradley Bozeman, offer him a 3-year deal, I think. Yeah, we offer him a 3-year deal, a little bit more money, and he's just not interested. He just has no interest in being Canadian for a little bit. Doesn't want to eat Kraft dinner and whatever else Canadians do. So, mock draft, CJ Stroud expected to go to the Seahawks. Bryce Young expected to go 2. Where are we picking? We're picking at 6. That is unacceptable to me. We're not going to get the quarterback that I want to get, and I want to get one of those top flight quarterbacks, which is why we traded Christian McCaffrey to get draft picks. Anthony Richardson expected to go 17 to the Seahawks. This is where the mock draft thing is so stupid. It's a cool little feature, but it's clearly like kind of borked a little bit. So Cooper Beebe was expected to be the 31st pick for us. We're not going to hold on to that pick because we're going to Seattle. We're going to Seattle. We're saying, hey, give us that first overall pick. We will give you pick number 6. We're going to give them pick number 6 here. I'm looking through, is there any players I can give them? And I was like, there's probably no one here that they would really want that much. I also did change the team to a 3-4. We'll show that a little bit later. So pick 1, or pick our first round pick number 6. We give them a second round pick, and then we give them our first next year. I believe we still have the Cowboys first as well. Kind of wish I could add more picks and give them like an extra first as well. So we offer this. They accept it. Seattle's like, hey, we don't mind trading backwards a little bit here, even despite the quarterback. So maybe they're not sold necessarily on any of these quarterbacks. Maybe the brain trust in Seattle. I mean, they shipped Russell Wilson out and thought Geno Smith was the move. I know Geno played well week 1, but it's Geno Smith. So we have Taylor Moton here. We're going to trade Taylor Moton, kind of older, but we end up getting John Mechie and Max Schlapperlang. I just butchered that name. We get him from the Texans. That was really just to get John Mechie. I really like John Mechie. Prayers up to that dude battling cancer. Hope he's able to come back next year. So we have $11.3 million in cap, which is not a lot of cap. A lot of those deals were about getting rid of cap on our, because those are the guys that we traded we're going to be on our cap for multiple seasons. So we kind of get those cap numbers off of our books eventually. So I think I think those were good moves. And we get some nice young players as well. So we're looking here, and since we're in a 3-4 now, we need some real defensive ends to sort of, be defensive ends for us. I really hope in Madden 24 they kind of get rid of this D end, left end, right end, defensive tackle. Just have defensive linemen, and then just have edge guys, and just have linebackers. I hope that's what we see eventually. Deshaun Hand, free agent. Decided to offer him a deal. See if he wants to come up to Canada. And we're looking through here, need another end. And we're kind of settling here on Zach Allen and Jaron Reed. Jaron Reed is a little bit bigger, 306 pounds. Rasheem Green is not... Rasheem Green? I thought about him as well. I really focus on the block shed rating. This is also a position that we're going to attack in the draft as well. And just looking around here, trying to see who's kind of just, I think, the better overall player through all of these guys. And I just think it's kind of Zach Allen. And we're going to offer Zach Allen. I know he's not as big as those other guys at 281, giving up 20 pounds there. But once it is Madden, so it doesn't necessarily matter all that much. We do get Deshaun Hand. And we're trying to see if Zach Allen signs with us. And we go through the evaluation period, and we don't get an answer for him just yet. So kind of waiting. Is getting an offer from Minnesota. It's like, come on, might as well just come all the way over. And we do get Zach Allen. So those are our two free agent pickups. I know, exciting free agent moves. But yeah, Deshaun Hand, Zach Allen, those are two guys that are going to plug and play immediately. So yeah, there's that. And so we're going to go right into the draft. I had to do this like multiple times because I kept getting kicked out of the draft. Really annoying. So number 1 overall pick, this is like my 3rd time doing this actually. CJ Stroud. I think this was pretty easy. 6'3", 250 pounds, big arm, 94 throw power. I don't think Bryce Young necessarily has as good an arm as CJ Stroud does, at least in this draft class from what I looked at it. When it did like the, good to great, great to elite things, I think CJ Stroud measured out better. Minnesota, they decide to go with Bryce Young. So the Kirk Cousins era is basically over. It's not going to be the Bryce Young era. And so we look through here. I want to make a trade here because I want to trade back into the first round. And I want to find a team that's kind of in the teens to do this. Want to grab another lineman, actually, because we did make some trades. So we still have Matt Corral on the roster for anyone that was worried if we wouldn't have Matt Corral. So we take a first this year, which is pick 31, a second next year, and we're going to go to a team here in the teens. We're just going to look around here and see who's picking maybe 15, 16, something like that's sort of the range where we want to sort of jump up to. The Raiders sitting there at 14, and we're close to a deal here, but no cigar just yet. I really don't want to give up an additional second, so I try a 4 and see if they're willing to take a 4 next year. That's declined, so we take that 4 off. Trying to look here, trying to find a way to make this deal happen. We'll do a 4 this year, which kind of sucks a little bit. So, and they accept that. So it's a 1, a 2, and a 4. So we move up here and pick 14. Broderick Jones, one of the right tackles I was looking at, he ends up going. So we still need a right tackle, and I thought about maybe one of the left tackles. I thought about Jarrett Patterson. We do need a center, and I figured we'll just sign one later. So Zion Nelson out of Miami, 6'5", has some really good ratings. It looks like here's great strength. Yeah, all his stuff looks really good actually, except his run block finesse. But outside of that, his pass blocking looks really good. So we are going to draft Zion Nelson here out of Miami, and he is hidden dev. I didn't mention CJ Stroud also hidden dev, which is like you expect when someone's making these sorts of draft classes, expect guys to be hidden dev. So here's our 2nd round pick now, and we don't pick again until round 6. So this is going to be the last pick that I actually show, that I actually make before I just simulate. Thought about John Michael Schmitz here, thought about a guard, thought about another receiver. Just wasn't sure here, but then also thought about maybe someone along the D line, but we kind of already have guys on that are particularly our nose position. I think we pretty much already have that sort of set up already with players on the roster. So we look through here. I decided, those defensive ends that I signed were, only on 2-year deals, only on 1-year deals. Thought about another running back because we kind of do need a running back, but looking around here, left end, and we're going to look here at Zach Harrison out of Ohio State. And block shedding is an A. That's the number one thing that I kind of look for was like defensive ends, and we decided to go with him. 88 strength, 83 speed, also hidden dev. So I think that is a great draft pick when you can get 3 hidden dev players. So I just hit my mic. Hope you didn't hear that. So yeah, 3 hidden dev players with our 3 picks. I think I wouldn't say we mastered the draft. I wouldn't say we nailed it. I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe I will say I nailed it. I don't know. I'm sure someone will say, hey, you could have did this different, whatever. You gave up too much. Whatever. I know that sounds really dismissive to be like, whatever. But, it is kind of whatever. These are virtual players. It'll work out. I'm very confident. So we get CJ Stroud, 77 overall, Zion Nelson, 73 overall, Zach Harrison, 72 overall. I think that was a good value. And and everyone else I didn't draft. So not all these other guys I didn't draft. So if they're bad, that's not on me. That's on the CPU. So this guy is a 63 overall. So doubt he'll ever play. Bryce Young. I'm not sure why it does this stuff where it's like, hey, look at this. I know what hidden dev traits are. So Bryce Young, I believe, is a 78 overall. Yes, so he is one rating higher. And so we're just looking through here, and yeah. And trying to find all the other quarterbacks, see where they went. Broderick Jones, a guy who I was going to draft if he didn't get taken by the Cardinals, but looks like we actually got the better player, I would say. Strength is better. Trying to look through here. I'm not sure why they're showing me juke move. I'm trying to find the other ratings, but I think eventually just gave up. So Zion Nelson looks to be better than the other guy that I wanted. Anthony Richardson ends up getting drafted by the Packers. He is going to be the Aaron Rodgers replacement, potentially Jordan Love replacement. Normal dev, wearing number 15. I believe that is a retired number for Bart Starr. I don't think they would let anyone else have that number. Kind of wish Madden did retired numbers a little bit better. Tanner McKee ends up getting drafted in the first round. I'm not sure if he'll actually get drafted in the first round, but Will Levis ends up going to Tampa Bay, so he's going to be the Tom Brady replacement. Need a center, so John Feliciano is going to get signed. Another guy out of Miami. I didn't even check. He probably has a mentor tag as well, so that's probably nice to have. So we are here. Here's the roster. Chuba Hubbard is going to be our lead back. Robbie Anderson's still here. Hopefully we got John Mechie here. He might go up to number 2 on the depth chart. Offensive line doesn't look all that bad, actually, despite trading away some pieces. Looks pretty good. One of those guys that we traded for from the Texans is going to slot in at right guard and start for us, so that is pretty nice. Derek Brown, Zach Harrison, Deshaun Hand. As my phone, it's a tradition, my phone goes off. As we're now in a 3-4, moved Brian Burns. Brian Burns also up to Superstar X Factor. Moving Gross Matos and Burns to outside linebackers, technically edge. And yeah, so yeah, not too hard of a thing to change up in Madden. It's not as complicated as some people think it is. So there's that. JC Horn also on this team. I like JC Horn a lot. So once again, another young piece to this defense. And yeah, Brian Burns is probably going to be really expensive, honestly. Now I'm thinking about it. He's definitely going to be, by the end of this first season, is definitely going to be in well into the 90s. So that's going to be a really expensive contract. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. New series on the channel. This is going to be a little bit different than the Seahawks franchise. I'm not going to be playing fully each game. Expect me to sort of play the moments and try to get multiple games in one video. Maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on how things go. Maybe some simulation in between. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching this one. Hope you like it. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. Check out my other videos on the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.